Hello everyone, I apologize for some families who may have been watching. I was having some connection difficulties, but I'm back on here with Miss Karen here live at the Early On with my friend Oliver, the owl. So I apologize if some of you guys got cut off. I'm just gonna start all over again, just in case some of you guys had missed the beginning. So welcome back to another session of Ask an ECE. We love hearing from you guys, hearing what kind of questions that you guys might have within the community and within Early On. And so recently we've had some questions from families asking about how they can further engage their child within nature and how they can expand the learning experience when they are outdoors. Now, some of you guys might be home right now with your little ones. You might have some of your older kids doing virtual learning or homeschooling. So it's a great time to talk about how you can be out there and expanding the child's learning when you guys are outdoors. So I'm gonna give you guys some tips and some benefits of engaging your child within nature and also some resources. So to start off, why do you want to connect your children with nature? So we as adults know that not only is it great for our mental health and our physical well-being, we also know that that's what happens to children as well. Giving the time for you and your family to step outside and go for a walk on a daily basis or how often as you can is the best way for your child to not only learn about the world around them, but also to inquire questions and to learn more about what they're curious about. So one of the benefits with engaging your children with nature is that it provides children with a positive experience with the natural world. So we set the stage for a lifetime commitment to caring for the earth, animals, and our community. So when you're taking your child outdoors and teaching them about the importance of our earth and our animals and our communities, they are going to learn that too. And early childhood is a great time to plant the seed of wonder. Children are always asking questions. Now that it's autumn, it's also a great time to engage your children because they probably have a lot of questions about why it's getting colder outside. Why do the leaves change color? Why is the weather changing? This is a great way to engage in a lot of conversation. It also will enhance their vocabulary skills. So speaking of encouraging language skills, a great thing that you can do when you're outdoor with your children is ask a lot of questions. The more that you ask questions, the more that they are going to realize that they can ask questions. So you can ask questions such as, why do you think the tree branches are losing leaves? And even though it might be coming from a 3-year-old, see what they say. It's not only practicing communication, but they're learning new words. They might not know things such as precipitation or words such as chlorophyll, which is what leaves need to change color. So by engaging with them different questions, the more that they are going to ask themselves as well. So engaging in active play from an early age encourages development of language skills. So one tip that I would give you before you're heading out, if possible, is to go through some of the books that you have. So you might not necessarily have any books about fall per se, but if you just pick up a book and go through the pages of the book, you can ask your child questions such as, what colors do you think we're going to see outside since it's now autumn? And so this will encourage them to point to pictures, or you can assist them and say, I see the color orange, or I also see the color red. And then you can expand this learning when you go outdoors and have them pinpoint the colors that they see outdoors. And this is so plentiful right now during autumn. If you walk outside, you see the leaves changing. Pretty soon in a couple weeks, you're gonna see the leaves on the ground. So engaging in that conversation will definitely help and expand their vocabulary. Another thing that is a benefit of engaging your children in nature is that it also develops social and emotional skills. Asking them about their day, how they feel while they're out going out and playing. It'll enhance their ability to be able to talk about it. You can talk about things such as the weather outside and talk about their emotions, like, it's raining outside. It seems like the outdoors is very sad. I hate to see you sad. How do you feel? Or you can compare the sun. It's very sunny today. It makes me feel really happy. How does it make you feel? Questions such as this is a great way to provide some engaging communication with your child. Not only that, but connecting your child to nature also fosters creativity and imagination. Some ideas for questions when you are on your daily walk are, what do you see in the trees? What do you see in the sky? Point out to any birds. Count how many you can see. Ask your child if they can hear the sounds of the birds and ask them to mimic what the birds sound like. Other questions you can ask is, what kind of animal is that? Is that an owl? So while you may be talking to your child, and even if they're little infants, talk to them, engage in them of what is going on outside. They are going to start learning different words by you using them and communicating it with them. Another question you can ask is, what do you think the animal eats? It's quite funny what children will come up with, what animals might be eating, but it's a great way to even see how they're using their vocabulary and a great chance for them to learn new words as well. So a tip that I would say when you're going outside with your child to expand on learning is to bring some items that you might have from home. With my son, I always encourage him to bring a little basket outside. We also have a magnifying glass that we use. Now, if you don't have that, that's okay, but even a little container, a little basket that they can use. Let them know that this is where they can keep their nature treasures. Now, on a walk that I recently went with my son, I asked him to pick things that we could use to be creative at home. So he ended up picking up a pine cone, as well as this little tree stump. So you can do that with your children as well. You can then go home and think of ideas of things that you can make with the things that you found outside. I'm going to show you an example of something that we did with something we found outside that encourages your child to be creative. So here we have a tree twig, if you will, a log, and just some of the things that we found outside and some craft things that we had at home. My child was able to come up with his little art form right here. So you can also do that with the pine cone. You can encourage them to make their own little animal with it. They can make a wind chime with it. You can also encourage your child to paint with some of the natural things that you find outside. And also one of the great things with that is that not only can you display it at home where they can proudly talk about it and proudly show the rest of your family, but you can also place it back outside if you like. And so since it's from nature, you're telling them as well that you also want to, things that you find sometimes you want to put it back if you can. So along with creativity, outdoor play also fosters children's intellectual development. It fosters intellectually, emotionally, socially, and physical development. The outdoor environment makes for an ever-changing environment that is free-flowing and unlimited. So the best thing about engaging your child in nature is that you really don't need anything at all. Now, I know I suggested bringing out a magnifying glass or a basket, but if you don't have any of those, that's okay. Go out with your children and just bring out your curious minds, the both of you. Ask a lot of questions, lay on the grass, look at the sky, talk about the weather, and you could even get your child to be a little investigator, a little scientist, if you will. Things that you probably do have lying around are things such as paper and a pencil, and you can ask them to draw what they see outside. And you know, whether it comes out as a Picasso picture or just some scribbles on the paper, encourage them to talk about what they've drawn, because you're going to be encouraging their vocabulary skills by doing so. So some tips on ways of expanding your play outside is building with and digging in dirt. Don't be afraid to get dirty outside. You have to remember that getting dirty is part of the experience for your child, and if they see you having fun in that mud or that puddle, then they're probably not going to be afraid of it either. So they're definitely going to mimic you, and the more love that you show that you're having in nature, they're going to have it as well. You can also construct things with twigs, which I've shown you as well. So you can find things while you're going on your walk, when you're going on a trip to, let's say, locally to our Heartland Forest. So you can definitely find twigs, bring them home. You can encourage counting when you're picking up twigs or pine cones. Encourage them to count how many they've found. And also, one of the fun things that I already mentioned is gazing at the clouds. So even right now in autumn time, it's the best time to ask them what kind of animals do they see in the clouds. I remember that was a fun childhood thing that I used to do, and I very much bet that your children will have fun with that as well. So one simple thing that they could definitely do during the summer, during autumn, is listen to the birds sing. This is a great way for you and your children to talk about what they hear, what they think the birds are singing, what kind of birds they think they are, or what color the birds are. You can also count the squirrels. I know that's a fun thing that my son and I love to do. We see squirrels all the time, and he just loves counting the squirrels. He loves counting the brown squirrels and the black squirrels and the white squirrels. You'd be surprised at how many different color squirrels you can see out there. So encourage that with your child as well. And lastly, as I mentioned before, it is autumn. When we see leaves falling, we're also probably going to see some rain coming down. Encourage your children to jump in the puddles and jump with them. You are encouraging all the emotional skills and development that they're going to be learning, not only in the indoor classroom, but also at the outdoor classroom. Think of the outdoors as your classroom with your children. The sky is the limit. So with that being said, I'm going to let you guys in on some resources, some books that I wanted to describe for you guys that I think are great. If you guys might be able to soon visit your public library and pick up some books, or you might have this in your personal library. So some books that I like are Autumn's First Leaf. Now this is by Steve Metzger. It is a scholastic book. It's highly recommended for teaching children about the changing seasons. So the story is adapted of a conversation of three little leaves right here. And you can see here, the one leaf is changing color. So this book teaches children why and how leaves are changing colors during the autumn season. So another book that I wanted to recommend is also A is for Autumn. This is by Robert Mass. Now, the great thing that I love about this book, and when our early on centers are open, this is a great book that we like reading to our children, because not only are they learning about autumn, this book also incorporates the alphabet. So, as you'll see here, it starts off with each letter of the alphabet, and it also describes something different that is going on during the fall season. So even if your children cannot read with you at this time, just describing things such as the colors, like what colors do we see during the fall? I see green, I see orange, and I see blue. And lastly, another book that I recommend is called Fall Changes. And this is by Ellen B. Sinisi. And this book just basically describes children's emotions and how they feel and things that they could be doing outside. Now again, if you don't have these books at home, check your public library. During this pandemic time, I've heard that recently, you will be able to soon below what the titles and the authors of the books are. So after this live, I will put these books down in the comments below. It did have trouble reconnecting. Now, just in case you missed what I just said, some of our local libraries